You're listening to the Valley Current.
So how does a $19 billion AI empire actually lose its most heavily guarded secrets?
You'd think it's a nation-state hack, right?
Right, or like a rogue employee smuggling out a hard drive in the middle of the night. But no, because of literally one single missing line of text, they accidentally packaged up their crown jewels, put them in a box, and mailed them to the entire internet.
It's honestly wild.
It is. So welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to unpack what is arguably one of the most consequential tech and legal blunders in the history of artificial intelligence. We're looking at this special legal bulletin from Computer Law Group, authored by their managing partner, Jack Russo, and it's dated April 2, 2026.
And, the stakes here for the listener to understand are just staggering. We are talking about Anthropic. This is a company generating, $2.5 billion in annualized revenue?
Yeah, massive scale.
Exactly. And on March 31st, 2026, through this completely mundane, automated build error, they published the entire unobfuscated source code of Claude code, specifically version 2.1.88, straight to the public NPM package registry.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because this isn't just, a simple code leak. It's this slow-motion collision of software engineering, insanely complex trade secret law, and, maybe the greatest corporate irony of the decade.
Oh, definitely.
Look at a huge drop here, 512,000 lines of code across 1,900 files.
Yeah.
So before we get into the legal doom that's sort of hanging over them right now, we really need to understand the mechanics. How does a company with world-class engineers accidentally just hand its architectural blueprints to everybody?
Right. So the technical root cause here comes down to this development artifact called a source map.
Okay.
So Claude Code is built using a modern JavaScript toolkit called Bun's Bundler. And when developers build an application, they write it in a language like TypeScript, which is, highly readable.
Right. Like it has plain English, variable names, comments, that sort of thing.
Exactly. It's got extensive comments, very clear formatting. But you don't ship that raw code to customers. Before it gets deployed, it goes through this compilation process. It gets minified, stripped of comments, and just mashed together so machines can run it super fast.
Wait, okay, so if the production code is like a beautiful, detailed story that you ran through a paper shredder so nobody else could read it.
Right.
Is this source map essentially like a special decoder ring, like a file with the exact instructions on how to tape all those shredded pieces back together into the original story?
That is the exact function of a source map, yes. Developers use that decoder ring internally to track down bugs.
Oh, okay.
So if the mangled production code crashes, the source map traces the error back to the original TypeScript so the engineer can actually figure out what broke and fix it.
But Anthropic accidentally shipped the decoder ring inside the public product box.
Right, because Bun's Bundler automatically generates these .map files by default during the build process. And Anthropic's automated build pipeline was missing this incredibly basic safeguard. It's literally just a simple text file telling the publishing system to exclude any file ending in .map.
Just one line of text.
One line. Because that was missing. A 59.8 megabyte file containing the raw logic of their entire company went straight to the public registry.
Okay, I have to push back here, though. Mistakes happen in software all the time, right?
Yeah.
Developers push the wrong branch, upload the wrong file. Couldn't they just, realize the error, hit the delete button on the server and contain it?
Well, hitting delete on a global package manager doesn't actually delete anything.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The NPM registry is the backbone of JavaScript development globally. It's designed for massive scale and basically unbreakable availability. So the absolute millisecond a package is published, it doesn't just sit on one server in California.
It goes everywhere.
Exactly. It replicates to thousands of mirror servers across the globe. Content delivery networks in Singapore, Frankfurt, Tokyo. NPM's own architectural documentation explicitly warns that publishing sensitive info to their public registry makes it irreversibly public.
Wow.
You physically cannot pull it back from a globally distributed cache.
And I'm guessing the developer community definitely did not wait around for Anthropic to try.
Oh, not at all. Anthropic did try to pull the package within a few hours, but this security researcher, Chafan Shou, had already spotted the massive file size discrepancy.
Just because the file was way bigger than normal.
Yep. And he posted about the discovery on X, and that post accumulated 28 million views almost instantly.
28 million, that's insane.
From there, containment was just impossible. GitHub mirrors of the leaked code hit over 84,000 stars within hours. The repository was forked, which means another developer copied the entire code base into their own personal account over 82,000 times.
Oh.
And it was instantly mirrored on decentralized, blockchain-based platforms that are completely immune to standard legal takedown notices.
Of course.
But the most devastating detail of this entire timeline, this wasn't a novel mistake. This was the third time Anthropic suffered a source map leak from this exact class of build pipeline failure.
Wait, the third time?
A third time.
Okay, so the decoder ring is out there. It's been copied 82,000 times, and it's a known repeated issue. Yeah. So Anthropic has permanently lost the physical ability to hide their blueprints. What does that mean for their legal protections? I mean, how does the law handle an accidental multi-billion-dollar exposure?
So the foundational legal framework here is the Defend Trade Secrets Act, or DTSA, along with the California Uniform Trade Secrets Act.
Right.
For a piece of intellectual property to legally qualify as a trade secret, it has to meet two really strict conditions. First, the company must take reasonable measures to keep the information secret.
Makes sense.
And second, the info has to derive its economic value specifically from not being generally known to the public or competitors.
Right, which is logical. If everybody knows how to make the secret sauce, it's not a secret anymore, no matter how hard you lock the kitchen door originally.
Exactly. Now, there's a sliver of precedent that protects companies from minor slip-ups.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Snyder versus Beam Technologies. It confirms that an accidental disclosure doesn't automatically instantly destroy trade secret status. The DTSA actually has provisions dealing with people who acquire a trade secret by mistake, giving companies a brief window to claw it back if the exposure is limited.
Okay, I am sensing a catastrophic however coming here.
Oh, absolutely. The catastrophic element comes from how courts view online virality. When a leak hits the internet, courts apply this multi-factor test. They look at the duration of accessibility, the number of views, whether the data was cached, and the scale of redissemination.
Which, like you said, Anthropic fails spectacularly on.
Exactly. We're talking 28 million views and 82,000 permanent copies. Citing cases like HMS Holdings, the prevailing judicial view is that once information is disseminated at that scale, even purely by accident, it ceases to be a trade secret.
And let's talk about that reasonable measures requirement too, because I look at it this way. If my house gets robbed because I left the front door propped open with a brick once, maybe a judge says, hey, honest mistake.
Right.
But if I leave the door wide open 3 separate times and my house gets robbed on the third time, I cannot stand in front of my insurance company and claim that I maintain reasonable security.
That is the exact analogy opposing counsel is going to use in court.
Seriously.
Yeah. The recurring nature of this build pipeline failure is legally fatal. Foundational rulings on trade secret law emphasize that security protocols must be consistently enforced. Failing to fix a simple one-line configuration error across 3 separate incidents, especially for a company generating massive annualized revenue, it just demonstrates systemic negligence.
Yeah, no jury is going to look at 3 identical leaks and conclude that Anthropic took reasonable measures to protect their 512,000 lines of code.
Exactly.
So the trade secret protection on the concepts inside this code is basically evaporated. What stops a massive competitor like OpenAI or Google from just copy-pasting the entire repository into their own products today?
Well, the literal text of the code is still protected by copyright law.
Okay, so copyright still applies.
Right. Competitors are legally free to look at the architectural concepts, the underlying feature ideas, and the design patterns. Because under established precedent, you cannot protect ideas from being discovered if you accidentally disclose them. However...
here's the line.
All right. Copyright protects the expression of those ideas. A competitor can use the concepts, but they cannot literally copy and paste the specific syntax Anthropic wrote.
Okay, so you can build a house with the exact same floor plan and room layout, but you cannot literally photocopy Anthropic's actual blueprints, scratch their name out, and submit those papers to the city.
That's the functional boundary, yeah. But there's another major legal asset at play here, and that's patents.
Oh, right.
Anthropic has a ticking clock. In the U.S., inventors get a 1-year grace period, so they have until March 31st, 2027, to file provisional patents on the novel inventions revealed in this leak.
Okay, so they have some time in America.
Yes, but the international landscape is completely different. The European Patent Office and China operate on a strict, absolute novelty standard.
Which means what, practically for them?
It means that the absolute moment an invention is disclosed to the public anywhere in the world, it can no longer be patented in those jurisdictions.
Oh, wow.
Because this was an accidental self-publication, not a malicious hack by a third party. Anthropic's international patent rights for anything inside Claude code are already permanently destroyed.
Wow. Permanent forfeiture of European and Chinese patent rights for an AI company with massive global ambitions. That is a devastating strategic loss. So, since competitors can legally study these concepts now, what makes this a true disaster is what those blueprints actually reveal, right? It isn't just basic code. It's this completely new paradigm for how AI operates. What are competitors actually learning from this massive treasure map?
They are looking at the architectural foundation for the future of AI agent operating systems. The source document breaks down several really sensitive areas.
What's the biggest one?
The first is their tool system, which is structured around role-based access control, or RBAC. It's essentially this 29,000-line permission gateway.
It's like giving a responsible babysitter the keys to very specific rooms in the house, rather than just handing them a master key to the front door.
Exactly.
Because the code shows Claude has over 40 discrete capabilities. Things like reading local files, executing bash terminal commands, fetching web pages. But the core AI reasoning engine never touches the hardware directly, right?
Right. It has to route every single request through this massive, strict permission check first.
That's fascinating.
The RBAC architecture ensures safety, but the true revelation here is how Claude manages complex multi-step tasks.
How so?
The code reveals a subsystem hidden under a feature flag called Tangwamberflint.
Catchy name.
Right. This flag controls their multi-agent swarm architecture.
Oh, swarm architecture. Think of it like a boss bee and a team of worker bees.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
So the coordinator Claude gets a massive task, like, building a fully functioning website. It doesn't write the code line by line sequentially. It breaks the job down and spawns subagents. It hands worker A the database tools and hands worker B the front-end tools. And they all work simultaneously.
Exactly. And the leak shows the exact mechanisms they use to prevent total chaos.
How do they do that?
They use separate to mux terminal panes, basically giving each worker B its own isolated soundproof room so their command line outputs don't overwrite each other.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, and they also use async local storage to give each agent an isolated short-term memory that tracks context across multiple operations without getting confused with the other agents. Right. The mechanism of isolating those agent workloads is so incredibly valuable. Like, open source frameworks have explored similar swarm concepts, sure, but Anthropic's implementation is this highly refined, enterprise-ready system.
Right, it's battle-tested.
Yeah. But honestly, the biggest competitive lead exposed in this leak, what the analysts are calling the actual crown jewels, are the subsystems named Kairos and Autodream.
Okay, Kairos. Why is Kairos such a massive deal? Because reading through the capabilities, it sounds like they basically figured out how to turn the AI from a simple, search engine into an actual autonomous coworker.
That's exactly what it is. See, most AI interactions today are purely transactional. You ask a question, the model generates an answer, and then the system just goes dormant.
Right, waits for you to talk to it again.
Exactly. Kairos completely changes that paradigm. It's a persistent background daemon, meaning it's an always-on observer running continuously on the user's machine.
Just watching.
Right. It receives periodic tick prompts, essentially waking up to evaluate its environment. It can autonomously decide if it needs to proactively take an action or if it should just quietly observe.
And critically, it operates under a strict 15-second blocking budget, right?
Yes.
Meaning it will never interrupt a human user's workflow or freeze their machine for more than 15 seconds at a time. It just quietly watches you work, noting what you do. And then there's Autodream, which is functionally replicating human sleep cycles.
The memory consolidation mechanism of Autodream is just brilliant. When the host computer goes idle-like, when the user steps away for lunch or goes to sleep, this background process wakes up.
Oh, so the computer sleeps, the AI dreams.
Yeah, exactly. It reviews everything Kairos observed during the active hours. It cleans up unstructured notes, identifies and removes contradictions, and consolidates those fragmented observations into permanent, structured facts in the AI's long-term memory.
It is quite literally dreaming to form long-term memories.
It is the exact software equivalent of human memory consolidation. And the thing is, no major open source agent framework has shipped a background autonomy and memory feature this sophisticated.
Right.
This is Anthropic's largest technical lead exposed to the public. If they want to protect it in the US, they absolutely must file patents before that March 2027 deadline.
But they didn't just expose what's out there running on user machines today, though. They exposed what's not out there yet.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
The leak included 44 compile time feature flags.
Right, so think of these flags like a high-end restaurant's secret menu. Imagine a kitchen that cooks 20 incredible dishes every single night, but only lists 5 on the actual menu they hand to customers. The other 15 dishes are fully cooked, sitting under heat lamps, ready to serve. The chefs have perfected the recipes, the ingredients are paid for. The restaurant just hasn't, flipped the switch to serve them to the public yet.
Exactly.
The leak revealed 44 of these hidden features that are perfectly compiled into the codebase, just waiting for a server-side command to activate them.
And these unreleased tools paint a super clear picture of their upcoming product strategy.
Like it.
Well, you have UltraPlan, which is designed to handle tasks requiring deep reasoning by basically offloading the planning phase to a cloud-based Opus 4.6 model. And it grants it a massive 30-minute think budget.
30 minutes just to think about the plan.
Yeah. Then there is Buddy Y, which functions kind of like a Tamagotchi-style companion pet with 18 different species and persistent emotional states.
That's fun.
And Voice Mode, which is a full push-to-talk interface complete with its own command line entry point.
Okay, but the flag we absolutely have to talk about, because the irony is almost physically painful to read, is undercover mode.
Oh man, it is the defining irony of the entire incident.
Undercover mode is a flag meant exclusively for internal Anthropic engineers, right?
Yep.
It acts as this strict system prompt that instructs Claude to never reveal internal Anthropic code names, future features, or proprietary architectural details when it's writing public Git commits.
Right.
They built an entire highly sophisticated subsystem specifically to prevent accidental leaks of their intellectual property.
And it was exposed to the entire world via a leak that simultaneously revealed every single code name and feature it was designed to protect.
You literally cannot write this stuff.
No, you can't. And the legal implications of those 44 flags go way beyond just embarrassment.
Also,
they constitute a forensically admissible product roadmap. So if Anthropic ever finds itself in competitive litigation or even a dispute over valuation with investors, opposing counsel will point directly to this list. They'll use it to calculate the exact commercial value of Anthropic's future plans. Yeah, every major feature they ship after March 31st, 2026 will be legally presumed to have been anticipated and valued by the market before the leak even occurred.
So they leaked their own secret menu and just handed their competitors the exact recipe book.
Pretty much.
The universe, however, decided that an unprecedented self-inflicted leak wasn't enough punishment for one day.
No, it wasn't.
Because March 31st, 2026 was also the day of the Axios RAT.
A completely separate, perfectly timed nightmare.
Let me clarify this sequence of events for you, the listener, because it honestly sounds too chaotic to be true. Did the source code leak somehow cause this secondary hack?
No, the events were entirely unconnected.
Just a coincidence.
It was a terrifying coincidence, but it massively amplifies Anthropic's legal exposure. See, modern software applications, including Claude Code, they don't write every single function from scratch.
Right.
They rely on external helper libraries to perform standard tasks. One of those helper libraries is Axios, which Claude uses to make network requests to the internet. On the exact same day that Anthropic accidentally leaked their source code, an unknown malicious actor executed a supply chain attack on the Axios NPM package.
So they essentially poisoned the water supply that Claude Code drinks from. How does a supply chain attack functionally work for a developer downloading this?
So when a developer installs Claude Code, the NPM package manager automatically reaches out to the internet to fetch all the required helper libraries, pulling the newest approved versions.
Automatically?
Yes. The attackers managed to inject a remote access Trojan, or RAT, into Axios versions 1.14.1 and 0.30.4.
Okay.
By adding malicious code to the post-install script of the package, the Trojan executes automatically the absolute moment the package finishes downloading.
Yikes.
Which created a highly dangerous window. Anyone who downloaded or updated Claude code between 0.21 and 3.29 UTC on March 31st might have pulled down the leaked source code and the poisoned Axios dependencies simultaneously.
So while everyone on the internet is distracted looking at these amazing architectural blueprints lying on Anthropic's front lawn, a completely unrelated burglar is using the confusion to slip a backdoor into the actual product users are installing on their machines.
That's exactly what happened. And the presence of that Trojan shifts the legal landscape completely, from trade secret loss to product liability.
Oh, of course.
Legal precedent like Garcia versus Character Technologies establishes that AI tools can be treated as products for liability purposes.
Okay.
If that remote access Trojan exfiltrated sensitive user data, passwords, or proprietary code from the machines of developers who downloaded Claude code during that 3-hour window,
Anthropic is on the hook.
Anthropic isn't just looking at the loss of their own intellectual property. They are facing massive product liability and data breach lawsuits from their own users, claiming Anthropic software delivered the malware.
Which is a whole different level of corporate crisis. So what does this all mean? We have gone from a missing line of configuration text to the permanent loss of international patents, a roadmap handed to competitors, and a coincidental Trojan horse. So if you are listening to this right now and you work in software or AI, what is your immediate move?
Well, if you're an AI competitor and your engineers looked at that leaked code, your immediate move is implementing 3-team clean rooms.
Clean rooms.
Yeah. You cannot simply tell your engineers to forget what they saw. A clean room isolates the development process to legally prove you didn't steal the code.
How does that work in practice?
Team 1 analyzes the leaked concepts and writes a functional specification. Team 2 acts as the gatekeeper, screening that specification to ensure it only contains high-level ideas, no proprietary logic or specific syntax.
Okay.
And Team 3, composed of engineers who have literally never seen the leaked code, actually writes the new software based entirely on the sanitized specification.
So it functions like a translator who only passes safe concepts, not literal words, across a border.
Exactly. If you do not document the separation, you risk massive misappropriation claims or even federal criminal liability under the Economic Espionage Act.
Wow. And if you are just an everyday developer managing your own projects?
You need to audit your build pipelines today.
Right now.
Ensure .mat files are explicitly listed in your .np minor file. Set your production build scripts to explicitly disable source map generation for public releases, and demand 2-person approvals for registry publishes.
Seriously, do not let an automated system publish your decoder ring without a human double-checking the output.
Right. Your automated build pipeline is a critical part of your attack surface. As we've seen, a $19 billion valuation does not protect a company from the consequences of a single missing line of text.
It is a phenomenal lesson in the fragility of modern software. And, leaves me with this one lingering thought for you to explore on your own. For years, the tech community has fought this massive ideological war over open source versus closed source AI development.
Oh, absolutely.
And Anthropic was firmly building the most advanced closed source fortress in the world. But because someone left the front door propped open with a missing line of code, the absolute cutting-edge blueprint for an AI agent operating system has been permanently forced into the public domain.
It's true.
We have to wonder, will this catastrophic accidental leak inadvertently become the foundation that universalizes and democratizes AI agent design for everyone else? Did the accidental loss of their decoder ring just crack the code for the entire industry?
It's a huge question.
It really is. Thank you for diving deep with us today. We'll see you on the next one.
Tune in next time on The Valley Current.